Is religion truly the main source of violence in our world? This question often sparks heated debates. Many point to wars, terrorism, and ancient crusades as proof that religion breeds hate and bloodshed. Yet, when we look closer, the story becomes more complex. Humans have fought and killed for many reasons, not just faith. Some argue that belief in God has inspired both cruelty and kindness. Others see religion as an excuse for deeper human problems. It is easy to blame faith when conflict erupts under religious banners. But should we ignore the roles of land, power, and identity in these disputes? If we turn our eyes to modern conflicts, like the Israeli-Palestinian struggle, religion appears central. Jerusalem is sacred to Jews, Christians, and Muslims alike. Prayers fill the air, but so do the sounds of battle. Still, is belief the trigger, or is there more beneath the surface? To answer these questions, we need to explore the roots of conflict. Is religion uniquely violent, or is it just one path humans take toward war? By digging deeper, we may find that our divisions run deeper than belief alone. Throughout history, religion has certainly played a role in wars and violence. The Crusades, for example, were bloody campaigns fought in the name of Christianity. Crusaders marched across continents, believing they were serving God's will. Their opponents, Muslim armies, saw themselves as defenders of the faith. These wars left deep scars that are still remembered today. In Europe, religious divisions fueled centuries of conflict. The 30 Years' War began as a struggle between Catholics and Protestants and devastated large parts of the continent. Even after the fighting ended, the bitterness lingered. In other regions, such as India, religious communities have sometimes clashed, leading to tragic loss of life and trust. Yet religion alone rarely starts wars. Often, rulers and leaders use faith to unify their followers or inflame hatred against enemies. Sometimes holy words are twisted to justify violence that really serves other interests. At the same time, religious teachings often call for peace, compassion, and forgiveness. It is important to recognize that faith can inspire both violence and peace. The same scriptures that bless wars might also urge believers to love their neighbors and seek justice. History is filled with examples of both sides. Nowhere is the mix of religion and conflict clearer than in Jerusalem. This ancient city holds deep meaning for three major religions: Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. For Jews, it is the site of the ancient temple. For Christians, it is where Jesus was crucified and rose again. For Muslims, it is home to the Al-Aqsa Mosque and the Dome of the Rock. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict is often seen as a religious war. On one side, Jewish Israelis see their return to the land as a fulfillment of biblical promise. On the other, Palestinian Muslims and Christians claim deep historical and spiritual ties to the same ground. Prayers, rituals, and sacred sites shape daily life, and sometimes the reasons for fighting. Yet, even in Jerusalem, many battles have little to do with belief itself. Political leaders use religious language to rally support or justify their actions. For example, disputes over access to the Temple Mount or Al-Haram al-Sharif have triggered violence. But these clashes are also about control, security, and national identity. When we look closely, faith is often mixed with questions of land, justice, and dignity. Religion gives meaning and hope, but it can also be used as a tool in larger struggles for power. Religion is powerful, but it's not the only force behind human conflict. Land, resources, and history often play a much larger role than faith alone. For example, in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, land ownership and national identity are really at the heart of the dispute. Both sides want a place to call home, and both have memories of loss and injustice. Over the years, political promises and broken treaties have fueled a lot of bitterness. The drawing of borders after wars, the displacement of families, and the longing for return all feed into this ongoing cycle of violence. Leaders know that appeals to history or national pride can unite people, even when faith is hardly mentioned. Similarly, conflicts over water, oil, and other resources have caused wars all around the world. Nations have fought over control of rivers, mines, or trade routes. Often, religion is only a small part of the story, if it appears at all. It's easy to forget that human beings have always formed groups, tribes, nations, classes, and competed for survival. Sometimes, religion is just the language we use to describe deeper struggles for power and security. If we blame religion for human violence, what about the wars waged by secular leaders? The 20th century saw some of the deadliest conflicts in history, often with little or no religious motivation. World War I and World War II were fought between nations, not faiths. The Holocaust, led by Nazi Germany, targeted Jews and others out of racist and political ideology. Communist regimes in the Soviet Union, China, and Cambodia tried to erase religion completely. Yet their leaders committed mass murder on a scale rarely seen before. Joseph Stalin, Mao Zedong, and Pol Pot killed millions in the name of progress, revolution, or national unity. Their violence came from ideas about power and control, not from any god. Even in our own time, ethnic cleansing, genocide, and terrorism often have little to do with religion. Sometimes religious language is used to justify the violence, but the real causes are political, ethnic, or economic. These examples remind us that human cruelty does not need divine approval. Secular ideologies and leaders can be just as dangerous as religious zealots. Why do people join causes, follow leaders, or fight for beliefs? Well, one answer lies in our need for identity and belonging. Humans are, after all, social creatures. We look for groups that give us meaning and purpose, whether it's a religion, a nation, a political movement, or even a sports team. Leaders often use this desire to unite people, sometimes for good, but sometimes for war. By creating a sense of us versus them, they make followers feel strong, special, or chosen. Religion is a powerful tool for this, but so are flags, anthems, or political slogans. Throughout history, people have been willing to fight and die for their group. Sometimes, outsiders are blamed for problems, and violence follows. Whether the group is defined by faith, language, class, or race, the pattern is often the same. Understanding this need for belonging helps explain why conflicts happen, even when religion is not involved. The real danger is not belief itself, but the way humans form groups and see others as threats. Is religion really humanity's biggest problem? The evidence suggests that conflict comes from many sources. Religion can inspire violence, but so can nationalism, ideology, and the struggle for land or power. Often, these forces mix together in ways that are hard to untangle. Blaming faith alone lets us ignore the deeper issues at play. Human beings are drawn to causes, leaders, and identities that give life meaning. Sometimes this leads to peace and cooperation. Other times, it leads to war and destruction. If we want to reduce violence, we must look beyond religion. We need to understand why people divide into groups, why leaders stoke fear, and why history is so hard to escape. The problem is not just in our beliefs, but in our nature. By facing this truth, perhaps we can find better ways to live together, not by erasing religion, but by learning from the mistakes of the past.